What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm here to talk about the Tennessee Titans' big matchup this weekend with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, I know at 1-11, not a lot of people are taking the Jaguars seriously, but this is a divisional game, and honestly, they could just want to spoil our season at this point and just have that be their last win. I mean, I would say out of everybody in this division, the Titans and Jaguars are probably the biggest rivalry in the division. Now, you can honestly disagree with that. I don't think it's too unfair to say that maybe the Texans are Tennessee's biggest rivals, or maybe even the Colts. But since the Titans and Jaguars go back when Tennessee was in Houston, I would say the Jaguars are probably their biggest rivals. That's just my opinion. Alright, without further ado, let's get into this matchup. First, we're going to look at the injury report here, and we got Breon Borders, who is out this week after not practicing at all. He has a hip injury. AJ Brown missed Wednesday and Thursday practices due to an ankle issue, but he did participate today fully, so he will be playing. Dennis Kelly, same thing. He has a knee injury, didn't practice Wednesday or Thursday, but he was a full participant today, and he's good to go. Adoree Jackson, after being limited in practice all week, has been declared out by Coach Mike Vrabel. Ben Jones, the center, was limited on Wednesday but practiced in full Thursday and Friday with a knee injury. He should be good to go. Same thing with Roger Saffold with his ankle issue. He was limited on Wednesday, but he practiced Thursday and Friday. Jonnu Smith, he was limited with a knee injury of his own on Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday he practiced, so he should be good to go. Darrynton Evans, who just got activated off of IR, I believe last week it was, full participant all week, he should be good to go. Derrick Roberson, who had a hip injury, I believe he practiced in full on Wednesday, wasn't even on the injury report. Then Thursday he was limited, and then Friday, or today, he didn't practice at all, and he is questionable for the game against the Jaguars. So looking at the Jaguars injuries, Tyler Eifert didn't practice on Wednesday but was limited Thursday and Friday with a shoulder injury. He's officially questionable. Brandon Linder didn't practice at all this week due to an ankle injury. He is out. Dakota Allen, he was limited pretty much all week until Friday, where he was a full participant. He should be good to go. Kamali Correa also limited all week, and he should be questionable. Nathan Cottrell had a knee injury, was limited Wednesday and Thursday, but he was a full participant on Friday. He should be good. Sidney Jones had an Achilles injury. He was limited Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, and he's listed as questionable. Greg Maben had a limited week as well due to a hamstring issue. He's going to be questionable. Running back James Robinson, who had a huge game against us in week 2, limited all week due to a knee injury, but he should be good to go. And Laviska Shenault was limited Wednesday and Thursday due to a thumb injury, but he was a full participant today, and he should be good to go. Alright, so now let's talk about what happens when the Titans have the ball in this game. And honestly, the one thing that we've been looking at all season is play calling. Arthur Smith really needs to stop with the cutesy play calling. All this Wildcat stuff when we're down like 20 points against the Browns last week was it's just kind of embarrassing, honestly, because it basically killed a drive. And it's just like, there's a time and a place for the Wildcat and all that, and that time and place is not when you're down by 20 points. So let me just get that out of the way. It's cool to do all this Wildcat stuff with like Henry or even Cameron Batson every once in a blue moon, but he just has to be a lot smarter about when he does it, especially not at the goal line, because, you know, when we line up, you already know what's going to happen. Henry's going to get the ball, or Batson's going to try to run it in or something like that. Just stop all the cutesy stuff. And then that third down where we throw it to Aaron Brewer, like, what is that? Stop getting cute. If it's a 3rd and 1, just give it to Henry and everything will be fine. As far as passing goes, honestly, you gotta applaud Ryan Tannehill, because honestly, if it weren't for Tannehill, that comeback is not possible, straight up. I saw a lot of people saying, well, he's nothing but a game manager, blah, 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 blah. People have been saying that all year pretty much. They've said it since last year, since he became the starter. But like I said earlier in the year, if it weren't for Tannehill last year, Tennessee doesn't make the playoffs. They don't go to the AFC Championship game. And honestly, if it weren't for him, the game would have stayed a blowout instead of having Tennessee be very close to coming back in that game. AJ Brown just needs to catch the damn ball. I mean, it's just too many times he's dropped like sure touchdown passes, and it happened again on a critical second down where we're down by 2 scores still. Like, we're still very much in the game, and it ended up proving costly. Adam Humphries didn't really help matters with his drop that ended up being a pick in the red zone. But AJ Brown, I mean, he did it against the Colts on Thursday Night Football weeks back, and now he did it again last week. He's got to make these plays, man. If we're gonna call him an elite wide receiver, he has to make those plays. Straight up. There's no excuse for it. He has all the talent in the world, but he needs to catch the damn ball when it's thrown to him. And with Jonnu Smith being available for the game this week, I want to see him utilized more in the offense. I just think way too often it seems to like just go completely away from him, like where the focus is Corey Davis, which is fine because Corey Davis is the #1 receiver on this team. Have no illusions. I know everybody will say whatever about AJ Brown, but until AJ Brown is able to catch the ball on a more consistent basis, I can't really call him a #1 receiver. He has the talent, but he just has to make those catches. But I want to see Jonnu Smith, Anthony Ferkser utilizing the offense a little bit more this week, because it kind of seems like I keep saying we like I play for the team. You know what I mean, though. It kind of seems like they keep going away from him. And honestly, Jonnu Smith is way too talented of a tight end to just underutilize the way he's been underutilized. So I would like to see him used a little bit more this week. And of course, you got to feed the ball to Derrick Henry. Just keep feeding him. I mean, he usually eats against the Jaguars. Over the past few seasons, we've all seen it. So just keep feeding him, especially when we have a lead. You know, there's no need to like go away from it too much. Yeah, we can still throw the ball and whatnot. I still have faith in Tannehill, but you know, got to feed Henry in this one. And of course, before I forget to mention it, the big $1 million question at receiver is, who's going to replace Adam Humphries as far as production goes? Is it going to be Cameron Batson? Is it going to be Khalif Raymond? I mean, one of those guys are going to have to step up. Even Nick Westbrook-Akine can step into that position and do something, but one of those 3 guys is going to have to step up. Tennessee didn't even really try to sign anybody this week, so as of right now, it's going to be up to one of those guys to step up into Humphries' spot. Obviously, Humphries didn't have a very good game last week against Cleveland in his return. Didn't look like he was ready. And I hope for the best for him, honestly, because those concussions can be really scary. His concussion in particular was extremely scary. And I hope he's doing well, straight up. I mean, you look at this Jaguars defense, they still have plenty of guys who can be disruptive. I mean, you look at guys like Dawuane Smoot. You look at guys like Myles Jack, Joe Schobert. You know, these are all guys who can make plays. So Tennessee cannot take this team lightly, especially with their issues on the offensive line. I mean, they're really beat up. Ben Jones, Roger Saffold have some injuries. Dennis Kelly has been hurt pretty much all week. And David Quessenberry had a really rough time last week against Myles Garrett. Now, granted, Myles Garrett is one of the best pass rushers in the league right now. So you can't really fault Quessenberry for having a bad game against him. But he's going to have to be on his P's and Q's this week after a rough week last week. Looking at Tennessee defensively, the big concern now, Breon Borders, who really didn't have a good game last week to say the very least. That's putting it very nicely, actually. I mean, he got burned twice in the first half, both for touchdowns. So, I mean, after all those good weeks he had starting since the Thursday night game, he just really did not play well, to say the very least. With him out, now you have a big hole at cornerback. And guess who's going to fill that hole? You guessed it. Ty Smith. I mean, he's just is not a good corner at all. He has not been good in the slightest. He just came back from IR pretty recently. I'm not 100% sure when exactly. Let me know in the comment section. It's like slipping my mind at this point. But he's just not good. And this is a Jaguars team that really diced us up through the air in week 2. Now, granted, they had Gardner Minshew that week and not Mike Glennon. Mike Glennon's been okay, but Minshew was the one who was really giving Tennessee fits. But Glennon's been solid, and honestly, with how bad this pass rush has been, how bad the secondary in general has been, it's going to be a tough day. That's all I can really say. It's going to be a tough day for the secondary if they don't get it together. I'm hoping Ty Smith gets it together. I hope Malcolm Butler stays solid. I hope Desmond King just avoids penalties. That's been his big thing over the past few weeks. Just getting called for a few too many penalties, whether it's a PI, whether it's a holding. He has to stay away from the penalties. Other than that, he's been pretty solid for the most part. But if they can just avoid penalties and just stay on their P's and Q's, and if Shane Bowen and Mike Vrabel wisen up and stop playing these guys safety level against these receivers, then I think they'll be fine in this matchup. I mean, the Jaguars have really good receivers. I mean, you got DJ Chark, you got Laviska Shenault, who's questionable, but if he plays, he's another pretty good asset. Keelan Cole, you can't sleep on him. Chris Conley's still a pretty good receiver, even though he's kind of had a quiet season for the most part. But just don't sleep on him. And as far as James Robinson goes, if he does play, I mean, he of course had his breakout game against Tennessee in week 2, so they have to make sure that they shut him down. Nick Chubb had a pretty decent game, but Kareem Hunt was pretty much held in check for the most part. I think the defense really stepped up in the second half for the most part, but they got to play a full half of football, just both sides of the ball. That's the most important thing. They got to play a full game. They can't just, wait around in the first half and just get beat up like they did against Cleveland and then decide, hey, let's come back in the second half. I mean, it cost them against Pittsburgh. It cost them against Cleveland last week. All right, so now for my 3 keys of this week. First and foremost, start the game strong, finish the game strong. I've had enough of Tennessee letting these teams linger on in these type of games. Tennessee is a way better team than Jacksonville, and with all the injuries that the Jaguars have, the Titans should win this one going away, so they need to handle business from start to finish. Don't let them back into this game, don't let them linger on, don't start slow to where they have a big lead like Cleveland did last week. Take care of business early and close it out at the end of the game. Key number 2, get after Glennon. Honestly, this is self-explanatory. I mean, the Titans have been one of the worst teams in the pass rush this season, but this is a perfect game to get that together. The Jaguars are missing 2 starting offensive linemen. Andrew Norwell is out, he's been out for a while, and Brandon Linder's not going to be playing in this game either, so Tennessee needs to get after the quarterback in this one. I know Derrick Roberson's hurt, but Harold Landry needs to step up. If Brooks Reed is given an opportunity, he needs to step up, and even the defensive line needs to do a better job of getting to him. That means Daquan Jones, Jeffrey Simmons, and Laurel Murchison, who I believe is coming back this week. They all got to step up. And last but not least, let Henry eat. Jaguars can't stop Derrick Henry in December. Historically, it's a fact, so just feed him. I know they did a pretty good job of stopping Dalvin Cook last week, but honestly, Derrick Henry owns the Jaguars in the month of December, and I think that Tennessee should handle this one. And hell, let Tannehill throw the ball a little bit more. I mean, Jacksonville's secondary isn't great either. I mean, their defense in general is ranked 32nd. So I'm not too worried about Tennessee's offense in this game. I'm just more so worried if the defense can stop their receivers, because their receiving core has a lot of talent. I think Tennessee should be able to win this one going away. My prediction is going to be Tennessee 31, Jacksonville 20. I think 20 might be a little nice. I think Tennessee is going to get their yearly blowout against the Jaguars in this one. And realistically, I know I said on Twitter that I could see Tennessee losing 3 of their next 4. I never said that they would lose the next 3 or 4. I think Tennessee will take care of business in this game. I think this might be a trap game if they try to take Jacksonville lightly, but I think they're going to be in their bag after last week against Cleveland. They're going to come out with something to prove, and they're just going to beat up this Jaguars team. And, after that, then you got the Lions next week. After that, you get the Packers, and then you end the season with the Texans. I think Tennessee could run the table, honestly. That's my true... I expect them to run the table, straight up, and maybe lose to Green Bay. I just said that I thought they might lose, I could see them losing. And you can see any team losing. I mean, it was kind of just a general statement, but it is what it is. I'm picking the Titans to win this one 31-20. Now, let me know what your score predictions are down below in the comments section. And make sure you guys hit that like button, hit the sub button if you're new as well. Turn your notifications on to join the notification gang. That way, every time I upload a video, you guys will be notified. And we're going to keep it rolling here with more Titans videos, more NFL videos on this channel. And if you want to see more, check out the playlist in front of you. been suffering in silence, and they paid me no mind. I've been stuck inside the shadows for a really long time. It feels like they forgot about me. Well, I'm here to remind you that the world is gonna hear me when it's my time to shine.